Okay, welcome everyone to our first ever episode of a new series called You Know Nothing. It's our latest series where we cover the news and strategies around the Song of Ice and Fire, the miniature game. I am the Brick, as you all know. With me today, I have Van from Indonesia, who is also your warden in the East.
Hi,
Okay,
hi.
so yeah. So Van, how do you think Free is currently faring around the world?
So surprisingly, Free Folk now is in an okay state, even after the few nerfs that we got. But I think we're no longer sort of at the top of the food chain. We're now sort of squarely in the middle. The latest unit that was released, which is the Giant Spear Thrower, has really shaken up the mags list that we usually have. So it gives a lot of range threats and everything. And Steer list is still like also quite powerful. So now that I'm looking at all these strategies being have in the free fall, especially now that skin changer is 1 point, which is very very dangerous. I'm curious to see where Harma's Vanguard is going to be located in the free folk sort of competitive scene.
All right. Okay, so you just brought up the new unit we're looking today. We are looking at Hamas Vanguard for today. We're going to analyze the unit today. So without further ado, go deeper into it. Let's take a look. All right. So what are the Vanguards? So Hamas Vanguard is a cavalry unit that moves 5. It's a bit slower than other light cavalry, but it's okay. It's 4+ to hit with 6 movement and 4. Sorry, 6. 6 4. They're rolling 6 dice at full rank, and 1 rank they're rolling 4 dice. They have 6+ save, 7+ morale. Okay, but the reason why this unit is special is not because of its raw stats, because honestly, it's like the weakest cavalry in the game. But that's not to worry. It has an ability called Ordered Plan Approach. So what is Ordered Plan Approach? So in order to understand the value of this unit, we have to look into what this ability can do. So just to be clear, it works similar to Boisterous Charisma, which a lot of you in the community are already screaming about, as some of my friends are. But okay, we're going to analyze it further and see what plan approach can stop. So I went to analyze the list of abilities in the game or effects, and I found 3 main categories that it can potentially stop to help your free-folk army fare better. So now let's take a look at the 3 main categories of abilities it stops. All right, so the first group of ability are what I call the deny protection for your enemy unit ability. Similarly to how Boisterous Charisma works, it blocks resilience, shield wall, and fire bait flash. So the good news is, if it does this, it makes the enemy unit less tanky. So what does that mean? It means you can use this order on another friendly unit, and then for you to attack with them to deal a maximum payload instead of halving the damage or whatever. So that's good news. So you want to make your attack hit with your full punch. Okay, so all right. So the next group of ability it stops. It's called the no, it's not really stop. It's the protecting your friendly units when charging and attacking category. It's all the so what it stops is the attrition abilities like Final Strike, Rising Temp, Dual Tactics, all these annoying ability, Brighton's Justice, I guess, that stops you from it stops them from giving the punishment back at you. Because how often do you use Mac the Mighty to deal 9 no defensive saves, and then they slap back in your face with the 9 hits with Final Strike? It's quite often. So the good news is this order can block Final Strike. So when your Mac the Mighty hits hard, it doesn't get hit hard back in the face. All right, so that's good news. Yeah, so you can swing it with your full force. So let's time to look at the next category, and it's the movement tricks. So one thing I realized as I play more and more in this of SIF in this past few years is often your opponents have Sentinel or Diversion tactics, and these 2 abilities are quite annoying because that often gives your opponent a flank charge or the ability to reposition so they can shoot you with a ranged unit. So it's good that this order plan approach can also stop this kind of ability because mobility and positioning tricks are often what set up plays. So it's good that those are being stopped. So yeah, this is good news for folks that want to bring this tech unit called Harma's Vanguard. So I'm going to pass the time over to Van. We're going to now go look at the combinations possible to enhance this unit.
So looking at all these abilities and all these cards that they're preventing, I just wish that this unit exists like now, just before I submitted my list for like the for the World's League. Because Ben, I played Max, and the amount of debuffs that he got is just like you're just putting this one guy and then he gets all the debuffs, and it just feels really bad. So Brick has mentioned some of the more practical or defensive abilities of the Harma's Vanguard, but now I guess we're looking at what are some of the things that they can combo with. So the most obvious one, the number one, is the NCU combinations that we have. Of course, the two ladies that we have, Egrid and Lady Val, for extra movement. Egrid is most important because it's a weird cavalry with speed 5, and if you're going into bogs, it makes them speed 4. So having Egrid around also gives them like an extra speed and allows them to sort of move in and out to get objectives. Then again, you don't really much need a lot of movements from these guys because you want them to just be within long range of the units that you're targeting. But you want to set up like counter chargers, or you want to set up flank, which is very important, especially when you have things like Lady Val for movement tricks. Now, in terms of the units, obviously, you want to protect sort of your big hitty units. We got listed down here Mags, obviously, because Mag will attract a lot of hate from your opponent. A lot of abilities will just go straight to Mag. Any defensive abilities will be safe when Mag swings. And even things like Frozen Shore Chariot when they're trying to do attacks, because it's a lot of dices when they're trying to swing. The other sort of like interesting combination that's not possibly listed here is that things like even 10 warriors under steer, because you want to make them not want to be debuffed because it's the center of your list. So when they want to do attack, you can ensure that you can perform to their maximum capacity. The next one is obviously with commanders and tactics cars. So there's a lot of different combination that you have. Unfortunately, the core tactics deck doesn't really work well with this unit, but certain commanders may work better with it. Like some of the things that we have, for example, is the Clan Walrus Chieftain. Now, this is a bit of an unusual little combination, but Battle Endurance could be interesting because the Harma's Vanguard, despite the name, they're not exactly the first one who's going to be in the combat. They're just going to be held back while the line is being engaged by your 10 warriors and your raiders, and then they just come in for like sort of like cleanup duty on like turn 3 or turn 4, and that's where sort of Battle Endurance comes into play. Harma, obviously, because it's a cavalry, so you get an extra movement of 5 alongside the movement cards that she gives, and you can give them to charge in the flank, makes them to be able to do in break lines even more effectively. And then last line, Mac the Mighty, of course, it is a good protection given to giants, but I will have to see whether the point can fit in the list, because right now the list is kind of tight because you want to maximize between having lots of activation to take advantage of your giants moving last and also providing enough protection for your giants to do work. So now I guess we move on to the segment where we would like to see what some of the lists that we have prepared for you guys. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, so welcome to segment 3, also known as the Let's Build a List time. We're going to showcase some lists that we have built. These are lists that both me and Van have built. I have built one list, he has built 2 lists. I believe each with a different commander. Yes, each with a different commander. So let's look at our list first. So list number 1 is by me. I have built a classic free-folk list, even though I don't really understand free-folk that well, let's be clear. So what I've done is I have built a hidden traps list, but this time I have put a chariot in and I'm using the Vanguard to support the chariot. So this is meant to be a attrition-based kind of list and trying to go for having that activation advantage, trying to go for the flanks with the Frozen Shore Chariot and supporting with Harma's Vanguard, or also possibly with Harma herself, because she has that flanking position, or was it superior position thing? Not superior position, yeah. Superior flanking, yes. So that's
superior
why I
flanking,
think
yep.
Yeah, so that is a good combination to just slap all your things into one big blast. So that was my list concept. What do you think, Van?
No, I think this is a classic free folk list in a sense that it contains 3 trappers, which I really like. It's a list that is designed to sort of murder things that has 4+ armor. I think a lot of Martel will have difficulties against this list, or maybe even a unit that is sort of like slightly squishy. Maybe even Greyjoys might have difficulties against this list because of the amount of things that because the Greyjoys have low armor to begin with. Whenever they decided to move, they get hit by the trappers, and then when they're into combat, they get countercharged by the 10 warriors and the Vanguard. So I think this is a pretty solid list.
All right. So now let's take a look at your first list. We're going to list number 2, and I believe it's a style list.
Yeah. So yeah, basically the style list is okay. So the biggest differences is just it contains Styre inside 10 instead of Harma. Now, as a lot of people know, Styre is probably now the best commander that we have in Free Folk. So the goal of this sort of list is to sort of maximize that line of play where you have Styre still in a unit of 10s, which is where its home is. Then you have two trappers instead of three, with the big hitters of Mac the Mighty. Now, the previous sort of almost utility items in this was Frozen Shore Chariot, but now Harma Vanguard fits in this list even more perfect because it can protect Mac the Mighty from doing its work and not being destroyed. So it is I would say, like, not exactly like a direct upgrade because, again, it's very matchup dependent. But now, because I'm seeing plenty of Baratheons in the meta, I'm guessing this list would do a lot of work against those
okay.
Baratheon justices.
I'm seeing what's on your list now. The Frozen Shore Chariot is actually
Yeah. So
it's actually Harma's Vanguard. So I see what's going on here. So you're replacing Frozen Shore Chariot with Harma's Vanguard.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sure.
Because the builder doesn't have Harma's Vanguard yet. And then, of course, for the NCU selection, we got Craster to heal, Jon Snow, because I think with coordination tactics you can do some sort of funny things with Jon Snow, so there's a lot of utility to have. And Lady Val, of course, for like the maneuvers and stuff. So yeah, don't let people be mistaken. The Frozen Shore Chariots is Harma Vanguard because they're 5 points each, but it's almost interchangeable to some extent. Chariot is the more punch in your face option, but it's less squishier, whereas the Vanguard is a 5 with 12 points. So
is the same treatment.
correct.
The Chariot is the Vanguard.
Correct.
All right, I think your second list was great. It's a classic Styre list with a little bit of a twist. Sure. Right. So now let's take a look at your last list.
Oh yeah. So this is more of a funny list in a sense that I'm using the both sort of cavalry options that we have. So it has the Frozen Shore, the Harma's Vanguard plus the Frozen Shore Bear Riders. Bear Riders just recently got an improvement. So the aim of this list is to create sort of like a position where it creates a lot of interesting decision points for the opponent because you have a lot of threats with Tormund's countercharge or with Tormund's auto 6 cards. And Tormund has a lot of powerful cards, especially in Spear Wives. It's a powerful unit. So the list wants to sort of trap the opponent into sort of going into a position where then they can be countercharged without any defensive abilities by the Vanguard. And of course, the 3 NCUs that I bring, Ygritte, Lady Val, and Mance Raider 5 point, which is ridiculous. It's our best NCU by far. The only reason
Mance Raider is a butt. Okay.
Yeah, the Mance Raider 5 points is really, really good. It protects, so it adds also an additional layer of protection to your units. Not only that, so you turn off cards using your using Harma's Vanguard or defensive abilities, and then with Mance Raider you turn off their abilities to do Tactic Zone. So it's a double protection. So you can create a situation where, for example, you want to kill this one unit, you activate Mance Raider first, and then you put Mance Raider on that unit. They cannot take sword, they cannot retreat, they cannot be healed with money back, and then you activate the order and then you charge.
Really good. The combo. So just again for our viewers, a reminder: the Frozen Shore Chariots you're seeing right now on the list is actually a Harma's Vanguard. So just to be clear, it's swapped out for a Harma's Vanguard. This is an error on my end, so also apologies.
All good. So it's they're all sort of showcasing different things, I think, from the 3 different lists. So as you can see, Harma's Vanguard is very flexible because it's only 5 points. You can slot them anywhere. You can bring them in any sort of combination. So you just need to check it out and try it.
Yeah. Okay. So with all the lists done, let's close out the video. So, Van, I believe you have given what's your final takeaway in 10 words or less of how
10 words or less.
Yes.
Harma Vanguard really good. Please buy them immediately. 8.
Okay, I guess that's your summary. I will take it. So with that in mind, we'd like to thank everyone for watching our video today. If you like it, let us know in the comments. Any improvement that you think we could incorporate in the future, do let us know as well. Sorry for the hiccup with the list building part. We'll look into it next time to make sure that we don't have this kind of errors. Also remember to subscribe to our channel and like our videos. So thank you everyone. We'll see you next time on You Know Nothing.